2 challenges in 1 year. 4 books on it, 2 books. First 24-hour readathon attempt, and hello my friends, welcome to my channel, Discover with Kim. I'm Kim, I'm so excited you're here with me today. Welcome to this week's book and reading vlog. This week is a really exciting one because I'm going to attempt my first ever 24-hour readathon. Let's get into it. I'm going to be structuring my 24-hour readathon a little bit differently than I've seen before. I know that most people try to do it either in 24 hours straight or they try to do it over one weekend, 12 hours this day, 12 hours the next day. I am not going to do that because that's not something that I can handle right now in my life. But my game plan is I'm going to try to read 24 hours over the next week. So today is Monday, so from today until next Sunday, I'm going to try to read at least 24 hours. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to try to attempt and finish my October TBR. So it's 2 challenges in 1 year. We're going to be attempting a 24-hour readathon, and we're going to be attempting to finish my October TBR. So let's see if I can do it. So my October TBR, I currently have 4 books on it that I have yet to read, and I'm currently in the middle of 2 books. So let's chat the books really quick. I'm currently in the middle of 2 books. I'm currently reading Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I actually am reading this for last week's book challenge, blind reading mystery thrillers. However, I haven't finished it. So if you watched last week's video, you'll see that, but I haven't finished it. We are about a third of the way in. This is how far we are, so we're going to be attempting to finish this book. I'm also in the middle of reading Quicksilver by Callie Hart. So good. And yeah, about a third of the way into this one as well. I'm on page 200 out of 609, and in Middle of the Night, I'm on page 140 out of 365. So that is where we're currently at in these books. I have about 2/3 of them both left to finish. On top of that, I have 4 books left of my October TBR. They are Hour of the Pumpkin Queen by Megan Shepherd, Night of the Witch by Sarah Vash and Beth Revis, Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham, Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. Also, I have the second in the duology from the first book. Night of the Witch is currently on my October TBR, and I have the second one in the duology, which is The Fate of Magic. I may be trying to swap this one out for this one so I can read the whole duology, but we'll see. So these are kind of a option, this one or this one. But we'd say this is 1 book I have to read. I have these 3 whole books to read, and I have both of these books to finish. So that's a big ask. But if I read 24 hours, I have a feeling I can get a lot of these books done because 24 hours is a lot of hours reading. So we'll see how that goes. But that is the plan. We will be starting today, just a little bit. So yeah, I'm so excited, and I will check in with you guys when we're ready to go. It is officially time to start my 24-hour readathon. So I have my peppermint tea all ready and brewing, and I'm about ready to start my timer. I'm going to be starting with Middle of the Night by Riley Sager since I'm in the middle of this book and I'm kind of pulled into it right now. So I'm going to be starting with this book. Tomorrow I will chat with you guys what this book's about and that kind of stuff, but right now we're just going to be starting off this readathon because it's already later than I want it to be. It is 8:46 at night, so we're starting off a little bit later than intended. I did already read 45 minutes a day, but I didn't time it or anything because it was before I started this video, so it doesn't really count. But if at the end of the week I need 45 minutes, I'm going to steal that from today. Just be aware. But we're officially ready to start our readathon, Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. We're starting on page 140. The game plan is that I'm going to just start the timer and start reading and let it just count up and count however long I am reading for. And then if I stop reading, if I get up from my book and I'm not reading for more than a couple minutes, I am going to pause the timer until I get back and start reading again. So I'm not going to let it run when I'm up and away from my book. If I'm up and away for 5, 10, 15 minutes, that's not going to count towards my 24 hours. It's just going to be me actually reading. So we're going to see if we can read 24 hours this week, and we're going to get started. So let's go. So yesterday I was able to get an hour and 37 minutes of reading in. Not nearly as much as I wanted to get in, unfortunately, but I did get that much in. So I am now on page 217 in middle of the night. So I have about 140 pages left, 135 pages left. So I must try to settle down and just read that tonight. That is the plan. I was not able to read this afternoon or anything. Typically, I'm able to read a little bit in the afternoon, but I was not able to do that today, which is okay. But in that, I can just bog down and read that tonight and get it all finished, and then we can talk all about this book. I'll do a quick little synopsis, and then I'll give a summary and like my thoughts on it once I finish. So hopefully we'll get that all done tonight, and we'll keep on cracking with this reading challenge and get it all going. But yeah, so yesterday I got an hour and 37 minutes in, which means I have a little over 22 more hours to read this week if I'm actually going to get this 24-hour readathon done. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, but we're going to try our hardest to get it done. And like I said, it is currently about 8 o'clock, so hopefully I can get a few hours of reading in tonight, and then tomorrow will hopefully be a really, really big day of reading, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start reading in just a little bit. I'm on page 298, and a big twist just happened that I actually did not see coming. I'm ready to finish this up though. Okay, my friends, let's talk Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I finished this book up last night and I have some feelings on it, so let's talk about it. This book is a mystery thriller. Our main character in this book, when he is 10 years old, he's camping in the backyard with his best friend slash neighbor. When he wakes up in the morning, there is a slit in the tent, and his best friend slash neighbor is missing, never to be seen again. It is now almost 30 years later, and he is forced to return back to his old house, back to his old cul-de-sac, and while he's there, he starts to kind of experience things and relapse into some old memories, causing him to want to investigate this case further. So that is the premise of this book. I have been putting this book off for a little while. It's for like a year, not too long because it's from 2024. But I've been putting it off for a while. Every time I tried to pick it up, it sounded interesting, but I didn't want to read it. I wasn't sure why, and I'm kind of feeling, I feel like I was right to not want to pick it up because it ended up disappointing me a little bit. So that's upsetting. Usually when I've been putting a book off and I finally do read it, it's typically like, oh my gosh, that was actually pretty good, or like it was decent. But this one, like, I mean, it was decent. It really wasn't bad. And there was that aspect of he was really good at building anxiety, and he was really good at making everybody look suspicious, and he's really good at wanting you to pick it up and keep reading because you were finding out snippets and information throughout. All of that I found really enjoyable and I really liked. So like the book in general, the premise of the book, as well as the pacing of the book was really good. So you were finding things out and you were learning things throughout the book, and you were getting all these different viewpoints from, you had the main character's viewpoints, and then you would jump back in time to 1994 and you get viewpoints from a whole bunch of different characters, which I really enjoyed. I found that was really interesting that you got to see a little insight into a bunch of different people. You kind of got to learn Marbles. I'm sorry, Marbles is playing below me, so cats. But you got to learn a bunch of different things from a bunch of different viewpoints, which I found really enjoyable, really interesting. The premise of the book, pretty interesting. And yeah, then it kind of starts to fall flat. I feel like this book extremely dragged on. Like, you would learn something and then they would talk about the thing you learned for like 3 more chapters. I'd be like, okay, like, I get it. I got it the first time. Let's move this story along. So I feel like the story definitely ended up being drawn out and kind of was definitely dragged out. You would learn things which were interesting, but then like it would just kind of drag as you went throughout it. Like I said, you would learn something and then you would like relearn it like 3 different times, and it's like, well, I already learned this. I don't need to relearn it a million different times. I understand like the characters need to learn it, but it was just a little bit much for me in that. And I feel like it was just dragging on, and I was just like, can we just get to the point already? Can we just see what happens? I just want to know what happens. And then you find out what happens. And it was such a letdown. It really was, in my opinion. I'm sorry. But when you find out what happens, it was such a letdown after everything that was building and everything that you learned throughout and everything that like the author built up and all the different aspects that it could have been. The fact that he was playing kind of around with like the paranormal, the fact that he was playing around with all these suspicious people around the cul-de-sac, to the fact that there was this suspicious institute a couple miles away, all of this stuff, and you were so involved. And then when you finally find out what happened, it was just a letdown, in my opinion, and kind of predictable. Like, I guessed a good chunk of like what happened. Like there's some things at the end. Like I'd say like that third act surprises, all that stuff was really getting me, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You'll even see I like popped on here just to be like, ooh, wasn't expecting that. But then when you sit there and you learn the rest of it, like the ending and like everything, it's just like, oh, well, that was disappointing. So I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. I don't even know if it deserves that, but I will say that I enjoyed the pacing of it and the general synopsis, and the fact that like I was curious what was happening and I wanted to come back and read more kind of bumped it up a little bit for me, because even though I was bored and I felt like it was dragging out and in the end I ended up being disappointed, I was really curious, and it did have me coming back and have me thinking about it and have me wanting to pick it up. So when books have me like that, I feel like that's really good writing, and that gives a good-ish rating for me. It's just the ending of the storyline and how everything was dragged out. No brainer. But anyways, that was Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, and my thoughts on it. Now, today I've already read a little bit. I read about 40 minutes so far, so this is really exciting, guys. I passed the 5-hour mark. So I've officially read for 5 hours so far this week. It is Wednesday afternoon. It is like 2:30 on Wednesday. I've read for 5 hours so far this week, Monday until now, so I'm feeling really good about that. I'm glad. I'm so glad I got this book finished, and now I am digging into finishing Quicksilver. So you have seen, it says I have like 8 hours and 45 minutes left, so I'm hoping that I can get that finished up by like Friday. That's a lot of reading, but if this challenge is going to work, I need to read that much anyways, so I'm hoping to get that all finished up, and that should give me a good chunk. So if I'm at 5 hours and I read another 8, that gets me at 13 and a half, 14, which means I'd have 10 more hours, but I could probably do that Friday, Saturday, Sunday if I bog down and read. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I'll get a lot of reading done today, but I'm digging into Quicksilver even more, and I'm enjoying it. Honestly, I've enjoyed that book the entire time so far. And yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. It has so many people that like are obsessed with it, so I really want to know like what happens and how it like evolves and transpires. So I'm excited to keep reading that, and I'm excited that I hit 5 hours so far this week, and my 24-hour readathon is going well, I'd say. 5 hours down, 19 hours to go, so let's keep reading. It is time for a big chat, so let's talk. Alright, well, first things first. As you guys saw, I royally messed up. So Wednesday night I went to read my Quicksilver in the evening, like at nighttime, and I started my timer, and I didn't stop my timer. I did not stop my timer at all until the next morning when I woke up. Actually, not even when I woke up. A little while later after I woke up, when I was like, what is going on? And I realized that my timer was still going, and it was at 14 hours, but I did not deserve that 14 hours. So that was a major fail. That was my first fail on my end, honestly. It was my first fail of this readathon. I am kind of disappointed in myself. I mean, it happens. Mistakes happen. It's no big deal. Honestly, it's really no big deal. It's just like first 24-hour readathon attempt, and I mess up by forgetting to stop my timer. But oh well, it is what it is. Luckily, I was keeping you guys updated. So as you saw, Wednesday afternoon, I was at about 5 hours. So Wednesday evening, I read maybe about 45 minutes to an hour. We'll say I read about an hour because it just works out better. So we'll say that before I accidentally allowed the timer to continue running, I was at 6 hours. So we'll say that Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, I was at 6 hours. So Thursday night, when I restarted my timer, I would have had 6 hours in the bank plus however long I read for the rest of the week. So that is that. Then, more exciting and not so much of a fuck up is I finished Quicksilver by Callie Hart. So let's talk about this baby, shall we? So Quicksilver is a romantasy novel, is a romantic fantasy novel. It is based on our main character, Saris. She is a human and she lives in a dystopian world, basically. She lives in a very poor district where she has very little amount of water allotted and very little food. She has a brother that she has to look after because her mother was killed. So she's basically a thief and she is living in this world that is very, very hard to live in. Something happens and she comes face to face with Death himself, and she ends up being transported between realms and going to a completely different realm, and she ends up in the Fae realm. Now, humans have not been in the Fae realm, at least not this part of the Fae realm, in many, many, many years, so she is quite an anomaly there, and she has to basically figure out what's going on, how to survive in this realm. She ends up binding herself to one of the Fae for survival in order to figure out what she needs to do to appease the king and get herself back to her own realm and back to her brother and friends. And yeah, that is a general synopsis of this story. That is all on like the flap of the dust jacket, so I'm not giving any spoilers there, I promise. But that is the synopsis of Quicksilver. Now, this is a very long book. It was 609 pages, but I love this book. I absolutely love this book. I thought this book was so good, and I really, really enjoyed it. I will say that at the beginning, like, it did drag just a little bit. Like, it took a little bit to get into, and I was reading this while I was reading other books. So that could be part of it as well. But I always say that some of it did drag, but it was also, like, at the point where there was really good world building, and it was doing a really great job of getting to know the characters and getting to kind of show all of their different characteristics and all of that kind of stuff. So I really, really enjoyed it, and I thought it was absolutely wonderful. I love this book. I love this book. It's definitely going in the top books of the year because it was so good. Book 2 comes out end of November, so I'm so excited for book 2, which I believe is called Brimstone, coming out. It comes out in just over a month, so I cannot wait for that, and I'm so glad I got this one read before book 2 comes out. I absolutely love this book. I'm a big fan of romantasy, and this is definitely one of the good ones. It was not too heavy, but there was good world building. The romance and the yearning and the building up between them was was so amazing. And it was like, at first I wasn't sure if I was gonna like the guy. Like, I know so many people love the guy, but I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like him. Like, am I? But as things transpired and as he opened up a bit and she opened up a bit and the book continued on a bit, it just, yeah, I ended up loving him. I ended up really liking her. I ended up liking a good chunk of the side characters, and it was really, really enjoyable. Honestly, a lot of the characters that I didn't like at the beginning of this book, I ended up liking by the end of this book. So that's not a testament to good writing. I don't know what it is. It was so good. I give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. Highly recommend if you're a romantasy fan, if you like reading anything different, if you just want a fun, good book. This one is so good and so fun, and oh my gosh, Onyx. If you read this book, you'll know who Onyx is, but I'll just say he's a fox. He's a fox. I love foxes, so good. Absolutely love this book. Highly recommend. Yes, yes, yes. That's all there is to it. And then I finished that book on Saturday. So Sunday, I started a new book. I only read for a little bit on Sunday, but I started Hour of the Pumpkin Queen by Megan Shepherd. This book is an extension of The Nightmare Before Christmas, so it takes place after The Nightmare Before Christmas, and it follows our girl Sally. She and Jack are celebrating their 1-year wedding anniversary, and she's giving some kind of demonstration, and something goes wrong, and basically her and a ragdoll are transported to Time Town, and a lot of things are happening there, and she has to figure out how to solve this mystery, go on this adventure, and get herself back to Halloween Town in time. And it sounded really good. It sounded really cute. It sounded perfect for Halloween time, and I really like this version. I thought it was really beautiful, so I figured this is a perfect book to pick up because this is the one that I really, really want to read before Halloween is here, because like I'm not really going to want to read this one after Halloween. So I was like, this one needs to get checked off my October TBR. Speaking of my October TBR, this video was me trying to tackle my October TBR. As you guys saw at the beginning, I showed you the 4 books I had left on it, this being one of them, as well as 2 books from my October TBR that I was currently reading, which were Quicksilver and Middle of the Night, and I did not tackle my October TBR. I did not. So that is fail number 2 of this video, was my October TBR. I started Hour of the Pumpkin Queen. And this is as far as I got with those 4 books that I showed you guys. Unfortunately, I just did not have enough time to read this week. I did not plan it out correctly, and it just did not work out in my favor. But I did finish Middle of the Night and Quicksilver, which I am so proud of myself for, and so happy I can check those off. And I did start Hour of the Pumpkin Queen, so it is what it is. I tried my best with my October TBR, but I did not succeed in tackling it. I did not. That was a fail, and I will admit it. It was a fail. Okay, I think it is time to add up our grand total for the week and see if I was successful in my 24-hour readathon, my first ever attempt. So, as I said, the first 3 days, so through Wednesday evening, since I accidentally cleared it, we're going to start with saying there were 6 hours done. Okay, so we had 6 hours done for the first 3 days, and then Thursday through Sunday, I ended up reading 7 hours and 44 minutes. So if I add 7 hours to that, obviously, I'm just doing this to show you guys, but it's 13. So I ended up reading 13 hours and 45 minutes this week. So I was 10 hours short of a 24-hour readathon. And yeah, that is my 3rd fail of this week and as of this video. I did not reach my 24-hour readathon goal, and I know why. I will tell you why. Let's talk about it. So, I really wanted to read 24 hours this week, but I did not plan it out correctly. I did not. I thought that it would be a good idea to just try it, but I should have set aside specific time each and every day to read and planned out exactly how many hours I was going to need to read each day to be successful with this. I did quick math and figured, oh, I have to read like 4 hours a day. Okay, cool. But I don't naturally read 4 hours a day, and without planning that into my day, I was not able to just naturally make that happen. I had everything else I need to do in my day, and without planning and setting aside specific time, extra time for reading, I was only able to get like my 1 to 2 hours in each evening, which is why I ended up missing the mark by so much, because I only got just shy of 14 hours in. So I got 7 days, about 2 hours a day, which is for me pretty normal. So I needed a lot more time to reading, and I needed to actually plan that into my week and set that time aside. So when I do another 24-hour readathon attempt, which I'm hoping to do very soon, I will be doing it very differently. I will be planning it better. I will be setting aside more time, and I will obviously not be trying to read way more books than I can, because my aspirations were way bigger than I could handle. But I tried my best, and I'm happy I tried my first 24-hour readathon attempt, because that means that, hey, I know what to expect now. I know what to do better next time, and I tried. That's all that can happen, right? I tried, and that's all you can ask. So I'm proud of myself. I'm proud that I finished those 2 books and that I started my next one, and I did try my best. So I'm just happy that I actually tried. So go me, right? And I got 14 hours about read this week, like just shy of 14 hours, probably about 14 hours because timers and all that kind of stuff. So got about 14 hours read, which is really good. Yes, it was 10 hours shy of a 24-hour readathon. It was a major fail. I failed 3 times in this video. I failed with every part of this challenge, but failure is part of life, and that is okay. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here and for watching. I would love to hear any tips for 24-hour readathons down below, and let me know if you've ever tried one, because your girl wants to try again and your girl wants to do better next time. But yeah, I hope you guys have a fabulous week. Live well, go read some books, and go discover, my friends. Bye. So good. So cute for fall so far.